Don't you hate it when there's plenty of waste in your oceans and water?
Dude, I hate when that happens, and the fact that nothing is monitoring them is abominable.
Yeah, I wish there was something that prevented this. I wasted my sweat, tears, and blood ridding these worms of waste.
Wait, can you say that again?
Introducing
Bloodworms.
Wait, why should I care about a stupid little futile worm that got upset by the 10th seed strike in the first round?
Well, found in the finest parts of freshwater biomes, these versatile worms also inhabit lakes, ponds, streams, and other bodies of water.
More specifically, bloodworms can be found buried inside mud or sediment at the bottom of water and also tend to stay near decaying organisms so they can feed on them and recycle their waste into nutrients for the ecosystem.
The bloodworm also shares their habitat with many other organisms, such as different kinds of insects like water beetles, dragonflies, mayfly nymphs. Likewise, they also share their homes with trout, bluegills, catfish, largemouth basses, and so many other fish.
But do not fear, bloodworms have multiple biotic factors, such as the number of predators that are hunting them in their environment and the amount of vegetation around them, which gives them things such as shelter.
Alongside these biotic factors, abiotic or non-living factors include water temperature, water quality, pH levels, and oxygen levels, all of which drastically affect the survival of bloodworms.
In its environment, bloodworms are at one of the lowest trophic levels. Being primary consumers, bloodworms feed on the products of producers like plants and also feed on dead organic material. Bloodworms are at the second trophic level above producers but below the third level, which is made up of smaller fish like guppies and minnows.
Based on this, food security and availability alter bloodworm populations. If the amount of the bloodworms population decreases, then the population of smaller fish will decrease since there are fewer bloodworms for them to feed on, which then would lead to a domino effect affecting the higher trophic levels. This dynamic would create a competition for nutrients and an overall decrease in all trophic levels.
Wait, so does that mean they're keystone species because they serve a designated role in their ecosystems?
Though they are important in their ecosystems, there are plentiful other species that can serve as decomposers and prey. So no, they are not keystone species. An example of a keystone species within the bloodworm's ecosystem would be something like the largemouth bass, as this species keeps the population in check by monitoring minnow and bluegill populations.
Oh, right. So on the other hand, if more predators like fish enter the environment, then the bloodworm population decreases. But if there are fewer fish in the environment, then the bloodworm population will increase.
Exactly, but that's not the only thing. As I said earlier, abiotic factors play a role in bloodworm populations. In this context, a mass presence of bloodworms may indicate low oxygen levels in the water, indicating water pollution zones, called hypoxic zones. This is because the hemoglobin content in the bloodworms allows them to capture oxygen in parts where predators cannot. Wait, but what are the biotic factors that affect bloodworms?
Biotic factors such as invasive species would lead to a decrease in net bloodworm populations. For example, when common carp were introduced in the lakes, they began digging into the bottom of the lakes, which is where bloodworms mainly reside. The common carp destroyed the bloodworm's habitat, which in turn led to a population decline in bloodworms.
Overall, in the current ecological landscape, urbanization and climate change heavily alters the bloodworms' lifestyles, as it leads to the death of their prey and the destruction of their habitats. Climate change is another ecological issue, as it leads to dry environments and also leads to less dissolved oxygen in water, which is vital to bloodworms. So, what measures could be made to preserve the bloodworms?
You could keep freshwater ecosystems clean and healthy. This helps the bloodworms by preserving the sediments in the bodies of water, which allows for the homes to stay nice and healthy. To ensure the protection of bloodworms, creating protected zones that monitor and regulate water quality would ensure a safe environment for bloodworms.
Thank you for watching.